Welcome to the woods. Still not back in the workshop and still wearing my dress watch. Cuervo y Sobrinos, by the way, but that's a story for another day. The AliExpress summer sale is now upon us, so it runs this week and we can pick up some Chinese watches for a low price. Hopefully I can get some hot pieces that will, help boost those views. And if you're new here, I would love it if you'd hit that subscribe button. Alrighty, let's go. First off, what's going on with coupons? I've put the worldwide codes here, but I checked the first night and that SS24 one was already used up. So, dear AliExpress, the coupons, they're tons of fun, but they're going to be counterproductive if most people feel shortchanged. Starting at the low end is the one that I have hands-on experience with. The Bernie, I'll call this a field chronograph, is by no means a perfect watch, but the sale drops it to under $50, and there's a lot less competition in this space. Once we ditch that awful strap, like they missed the drab and OD green, this starts to look like a superior Timex weekender. Sapphire crystal and a robust build make a much better field watch here. Granted, the chronograph action is not great, but it's a decent middle-of-the-road Miyota movement, and a vintage leather strap or the right NATO would make this an ideal camping watch. Next, for the princely sum of $51 is the new Tandorio cushion case, and it's clearly been inspired by Boltony's success on the higher end, but what this watch is a gift for modders. I'll remind anyone put off by the 36mm diameter that the cushion shape naturally wears a lot larger on wrist. And with a sapphire crystal and 2 crown choices, this case is useful for military mods straight through the 20th century. Another bonus is the copious dial choice available from this granted mushroom brand. These might end up in different projects, as in my experience, it's cheaper to buy a whole Tandorio as opposed to trying to buy the parts and movements separately. Up third is one that I also have a little bit of experience with, and this is the new Sea-Gull skeleton watch. And if you're like me, you've had a guilty open dial itch, probably since starting the hobby. And I like this one for the darker design and lower price compared to Sea-Gull's existing skeleton. So add to that this promotional listing from EOL Outlet, and that's a trustworthy North American agent, I believe based here in Canada, plus those sale bonuses, and we get a price under $110. Very tempting if you're looking to scratch that skeleton itch. In second place is a surprise for me, but probably the most discussed piece this sale. I'd heard of Proxima Unidives, that they were good quality, but no one model really stood out to me, and I also was not a big fan of the unicorn logo. Now, enter this PX 1697 diver that's received both hype and some early positive reviews. I like that it's not a direct homage. It kind of reminds me of like Christopher Ward with Seamaster 300 vibes. And even though the sale price is a bit higher at $217, from what I've seen, the watch is well worth it. I also expect that these different dials will be crowd pleasers, as well as the 39mm diameter and 45mm lug to lug, which is what brings us to everyone's question about watch number 1. San Martin is pretty careful to save at least one big release for these sales, and this time is no exception, with the new SN0116 GMT debuting in 2 colorways. The brand proudly calls this an original design, and I think us reviewers are finally going to have to concede the point on this one. It blends several 70s dive watch tropes together, but leave a comment if you disagree. The beads of rice bracelet and the unique colorway are going to be divisive, but I'm actually a big fan of both. I am no graphic designer, and I know there's some legitimate criticism of having one too many colors here. There is also a black dial for the faint of heart, and San Martin has already previewed additional colors on Instagram, so if you don't like either of these, it's probably worth just waiting for another one. But unfortunately, I think that price of $255, that is probably the bottom of the barrel, as the brand seems to have put a lot of emphasis on this case, so I expect prices to rise. Now, speaking of the case, the question everyone asked is what's the lug to lug, because these suckers look really long. And surprisingly candid for San Martin, we get a wrist shot on a stated 6.1 inch wrist, showing it'll be fine for pretty much anyone at 46.5 millimeters. Probably should wrap up right there. I will throw those worldwide codes up one more time. If these don't work, feel free to leave a comment and I might be able to find your countries. Anyways, thanks again for watching. I will see you next week and don't forget to subscribe.